We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Good evening, everybody. Episode 34, Vikings Uncensored. Made it 34 episodes, ladies and gentlemen.
34 long, agonizing episodes.
A couple house cleaning things we want to take care of here. Before we start, of course, you're seeing the show on Friday. Thursday is Veterans Day, so we just want to put out a big thank you to all of those people who have served in the military, whether they're serving now or have served in the past. We thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts. We couldn't be doing what we're doing without the sacrifices that you guys have made so that we can do this kind of stuff. And, you know, our heartfelt appreciation goes out to every single member of the armed forces, past, present, future. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
And then again, Vikings Uncensored, brought to you again by our friends over at the Boulder Tap House. Craft burgers, craft beer, and an atmosphere the whole family will love. And if you guys happen to notice on Sunday during the game, I was doing quarterly live breaks on our Facebook page. So had some pretty good feedback on that. So I think we might try that again this weekend.
Absolutely.
So keep watch out for that coming up. So we got a little bit of quick news here to do before we roll into the game wrap up from last week. As we all saw, Sunday morning prior to the game, news broke that safety Harrison Smith had been placed on COVID IR. And
Surprise for sure.
Yeah, was not able to play Sunday. But since he is unvaccinated, he has to be out a maximum of 10 days, which also means he will not play this upcoming Sunday against the Chargers. So rookie Cam Bynum, who had himself a damn good game, will get his second career start this weekend against Chargers. We'll discuss some of that down the road when we start looking at the preview for next week. Also, I believe it was Monday, backup linebacker Ryan Connolly also went on COVID IR.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if he was, if it was a close contact or if he was positive or what the deal is with him, but we'll probably know more by the time you guys see this episode on Friday. Also, Dakota Dozier, as far as I know, is still on COVID IR.
Oh no.
Yeah. But that's another can of worms that related that we're going to talk about in a little bit here. But
yeah.
But with that, we are going to roll into the recap of yet another frustrating, heartbreaking, excruciating, nauseating,
rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit.
Whatever word you want to use to fit that.
I don't know. I'm becoming kind of numb to this year. So, the first, second time, yeah, you feel kind of shitty. But now it's just I'm getting used to it. So
you're into that phase of acceptance now of these stages of grief or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll start off with the offensive recap, roll into the defense like we normally do. Once again, the scripted plays looked pretty good. We had basically the first 2 drives were both scripted. Justin Jefferson with a 50-yard touchdown bomb in the first series looked great.
I
And
thought,
yeah.
that was nice.
And then when we got to the second series, then of course we had Dalvin Cook, who ripped off that 66-yard run that set us up in nice position where we finally got down, and Kirk Cousins ran the quarterback sneak in to get the second touchdown. So at that point we were up 14-3.
Yeah.
Then
you can have the gun defense too.
Yep. Then after that, then the wheels pretty much fell off the whole thing. Rookie Cam Bynum, like we mentioned in his first NFL start, had a very sweet play picking off Lamar Jackson and returning the ball all the way down to the Baltimore 16-yard line, setting us up in great position to put the game possibly out of reach right off the get-go. And what do? We proceed to run 3 plays that get us absolutely jack squat and end up having to kick a field goal.
Mind-boggling.
It was a chance right there to grab the momentum and run with it. And
you know what? We probably would have ended up losing anyways, even if we did get a touchdown there. We would have found a way that life
finds a way.
We probably would have found a way, but we would have went up 21-3 at that point.
Yep.
But
and that's with Bynum not taking any first team snaps all week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he didn't know he was going to start until Sunday morning when he woke up. He said, but we'll discuss more of that in the defensive part. But some other notables on the offense: C.J. Ham, again, a focal part of the offense, had a 27-yard catch.
Focal.
Yeah.
Right.
Dalvin Cook had 117 yards rushing, but unfortunately, 105 of that 117 came on 3 plays.
Right.
So basically another 12 yards for the rest of the game.
I liked what I see out of Mason Cole coming in for Bradbury.
Yep. If you look at the PFF stats, Mason Cole had a PFF ranking of 74.6, which is pretty good.
Yeah, for our guys.
Well, but conversely, Garrett Bradbury has only reached that number 3 times in his entire 3+ year career.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, granted, it's a small sample size, but to me, I don't care if Bradbury's off COVID IR or what it is this week.
Until Cole has a bad game,
Mason Cole needs to start again this week. Now, that being said, I'm sure Bradbury will trot his happy ass back out there and be the starter on Sunday. But speaking of,
and Mason Cole is still young as well.
Yeah, he's actually younger than Bradbury. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, but as we're talking on the offensive line, saw a stat today that Christian Darrisaw, and I believe it's 150 some snaps somewhere in that, has only given up 3 pressures. Mm-hmm. That is the best among rookie tackles in the NFL.
Huh.
Yeah. If only he would have played sooner.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, granted, he was hurt to start with, but then, of course, we had to let Rashad Hill play because,
get pushed around. Yeah.
Yeah. Knocked on his ass, as we showed in videos 3 or 4 times of him literally getting dumped on his ass.
Would have been better having the sled out there.
Yeah. Traffic cone, at least they would have had to run around that, But then while we're talking on the offensive stuff, that's a good turnover to some more of this bad stuff. What was it? Was it in the second quarter or was it the third quarter when Udo went out? I forget where.
I want to say it was
I want to say it was the second quarter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ole Udo goes out, and we're all thinking, okay, Wyatt Davis is going to get his chance to come in here and show us what he did.
51. Yep.
Who do we? No, we trot out our backup right tackle, Blake Brandel, to put in at right guard instead of the 2-time consensus All-American right guard that we drafted in the 3rd round.
And then to put the icing on the cake, Zim goes and throws Wyatt Davis under the bus at his press conference and says, "Oh, we just don't think he's ready where we think he's at." Well, what the fuck do you mean? You said we haven't seen him in enough games. You have. How are you gonna know how he's gonna be unless you throw him out there? He's not practicing good enough. What the fuck is going on?
I don't know. I've given up trying to figure that crap out, but that was a point of contention. When I saw that, it drove me freaking nuts.
Everybody was expecting, it was time for Davis to get plugged in. They're like, all right, let's see what Davis has got. No, apparently not.
I mean, the incompetence of this coaching staff. It's just, but we'll get into the coaching staff later. I don't want to get down that rabbit hole yet, but
yeah.
Kirk Cousins.
Not you with this team.
I know. Kirk Cousins. Mr. Kirk, we have been on your side for quite a while, most of this season, but you're starting to tread on some thin ice here again.
It's because this guy's hands full and doesn't know what to do.
Well, and that's part of the thing here. Okay, coming into the game, Baltimore's pass defense was ranked 32nd in the league, and we only threw for 187 yards.
I'm sure you're getting to this. Tyler Conklin had more fucking targets than Jefferson.
Yeah, Jefferson had 3 receptions for 69 yards. The one was that 50-yard touchdown on the opening drive, and other than that, he had 2 catches for 19 yards the rest of the game. Adam Thielen had 2 receptions for 6 yards. The one was that touchdown that tied it back up at the end to put it into overtime. But
if people don't know what this points to, then oh man, this is mind-boggling.
But and then they're talking to Kirk on that afterwards again and stuff. Well, and he brings out this, they're rolling the safeties and they're covering this.
Can vary.
Was there something that led to you guys getting away from that, though, after that 50-yard touchdown that he had?
I think when teams play too deep and drop underneath a lot, when we get in long yardage situations that invites them to play that, it makes it difficult to target receivers down the field on some longer passes. The reason we hit Justin on the post is because a free safety settles his feet and is jumping a route underneath. And Justin also caused the corner to jump a route as a result of the way he ran his post. So I think after that they backed up and kept things in front of him for the most part.
Dude,
the routes are taking longer to develop.
Yeah, your offensive line is doing its job.
Yeah.
There was one play, I forget, one of the national pundit guys had posted this, and I saw it on Twitter, but one of the drives, all Kirk would have had to do was shift himself over to the right, and he'd have had enough extra time that he could have set up to hit. He had Jefferson streaking right across the middle. He could have hit him wide open. But
it's pretty bad when the best facet of your team is your special teams.
Yeah, but Kirk is going out there right now, and he's just, if whatever the play is called isn't right there, he's just checking it down. He's not letting stuff develop. He's not making checks at the line.
That's been a knock on Kirk for a long time, too.
Yeah, but and earlier in the season, he was doing fine. Now, all of a sudden, he's getting into this, don't look at me, I just work here bullshit attitude that he's got right now. I'm going to do what the coaches tell me and be the good little player that, follow orders, And I know Mackey and Judd brought this up on their vent line after the game on Sunday. Judd had said, and it's correct, Kirk is a quarterback who needs to have his hand held the entire time and be told what to do because he doesn't have the stones to go out there and do it because he's afraid he's going to make a mistake.
Like I said, he's got his hands full. He doesn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, along with, after the
all the talent in the world, but can't do it by himself.
Right. And after, the scripted plays and stuff, we had 13 yards of total offense in the third quarter.
Doesn't help that our defense is out there for fucking 18 plays.
Yeah. I mean, but by the middle of the third quarter, the defense was starting to get gassed because, Baltimore had like a 2-1 time of
They had
possession.
a lot of things.
They-
They did.
Yeah, but they held the ball.
Baltimore
They had a time of possession like 45 minutes,
I think they had like what 18 first downs throughout the game.
something like that. But then the kicker was in overtime after the Barr interception, which we'll get into in a little bit here. The coaches came out and said straight out that the offense was not ready to take the field on that turn after the turnover. What the hell were they doing? Eating cookies?
Playing Twister on the sideline, dude.
Drinking Gatorade, ready for what they figure the defense was just going to give up the thing and they were going Baltimore was going to go down, score a touchdown, the game was going to be over.
In the stadium.
I mean, you should, and Drew and I were talking about this on a post earlier this week on Facebook. You should always be ready to take the field, whether you're the offense or whether you're the defense, because
You taught that since fucking Pop Warner football.
yeah, because a change of possession can come at any time, as we saw. But we'll get it.
I mean, this is getting silly.
Yeah,
This is getting pretty fucking silly pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. But we'll get into that once we get more into the coaching, because here again we don't want to beat a dead horse, but the damn horse won't die, so we have to keep beating.
No, right.
But anyway, you got anything more to talk about on the offense before we move over to the defensive side of things?
Looks like a desperate offense right now.
I was thinking more. The better word is incompetent, but
incompetent, desperate, clawing for answers that nobody knows what. I mean, I don't know, man. It's a complete and utter mind fuck.
The one I saw a great. Well, I'll bring that up later. It's better. It's better for the coaching part of things. Anyway, so we'll move on to the defense. Opening drive again. Couple of mistakes that let Baltimore get down for that first field goal. Bashad Breeland again missed another interception that he should have caught.
He had missed a couple this game.
Yep. Then there was that, and here again, I'm not blaming the refs for anything. The refs have been horrible across the league.
This was one of those calls that I can agree with that should not.
Right, but I mean,
it affected the game.
It did to a point. But I mean, if you watch that Monday Night Football game with the Bears and stuff, the officiating in that game was 10 times worse than what we had.
Yeah, it's been very.
But we had that BS horse collar penalty on DJ Wanham where he grabbed Lamar Jackson right in
under
the center.
The nameplate. He
grabbed it right in the center of the 8 on the back of his jersey and pulled him down, and he got a horse collar tackle. Horse collar is up here when you grab the back of the shoulder pads.
Yep. Anywhere above the nameplate, they said.
Mm-hmm. So, that kept going.
But then the refs returned the favor to Baltimore shortly after that, later on in the game. I don't think it was, but they got something.
So
we got something.
Like I said, the officiating is horrible.
Yeah.
Both ways, it evens out equal, for the most part. Then also in the first quarter, as we already mentioned, Cameron Bynum made himself a hell of a play on that interception.
Jackson deep down the middle, and it is picked off. Cameron Bynum, the rookie, with his first career impact play in a Vikings uniform on defense.
Bynum played a great game, I thought, for the most part. He had one pass interference penalty that kept a drive going, but you can't expect a flawless game from a rookie in his first start. But I thought by and large,
he did about as good as you could have asked.
Especially on that short notice.
Yes. No first team snaps throughout the week. Wasn't expecting to start. I mean, he was ready to go.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I'm going to say about the good in this game with the defensive side of things. We were forced to see a lot of the young guys play, and a lot of the young guys stepped up.
Willikis, my God, he looked great.
I was
butter there for a few of those plays.
He was going to be my next point here. He ended up with a half of a sack, but he could have had 3 at least.
He was a terror in that backfield.
He was getting a ton of pressure. He was all over the place. He was flying around. He was making tackles. He played a great game, I thought. Again, DJ Wanham played a pretty good game. Sheldon Richardson even had himself a pretty good game. He had 2 tackles for loss and 1.5 sacks.
Griff was getting back there too, but he wasn't getting.
Yeah,
to the
but
court. I mean,
they
he
were
wasn't stop. I mean, he wasn't getting the sacks like he wanted, but he was causing pressure,
Right.
And he was making them uncomfortable.
well, and Griffin's the one getting the double coverage now, being that Hunter's out
Yep.
for the year. But
Yep.
Another one. Eric Kendricks had 17 tackles,
That's insane.
and they asked him about it afterwards. He said, "I don't care if I have 30 tackles, we still lost the damn game." Which
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly.
Then another one. Anthony Barr was pretty quiet for most of the game.
He's pretty quiet most of the time.
Yeah, he had 0 tackles, 0 sacks, but
That's the Anthony Barr we know.
yeah, but he did come up big in overtime
He did.
with that play where he knocked the ball up in the air and then picked it
That
off.
was a good play. That was.
Off the fake. Oh, that ball was deflected and taken away. Vikings have it. It's Anthony Barr with the biggest defensive play of the day.
Good splash play for Barr.
Yeah, I mean that was a hell of a play.
He tends to disappear for large portions of a game.
Yeah, he did for 4 quarters, and then the overtime he showed up, which
Yeah.
gave us an opportunity. But as we talked with the defense did its job in the first half, but then the second half, like I said, with the offense not doing their job, the defense was getting gassed and everything else. We ended up giving up 500 yards of total offense, 247 of that on the ground. So I want to hear Mike Zimmer talk about, we pay too much attention to stats again and not how things look and how they are.
Fairly
Lamar-
certain he gave up 100 yards to Lamar Jackson too.
120.
Yep.
So again, not all the defense's fault because they were getting, run out of the building because we were so gassed out there from the time of possession differential.
I'm gonna tell you something though. Lamar keeps playing like that. Somebody's gonna whack him one of these times, and he is gonna get hurt pretty bad.
We've been saying that ever since he came into the league, and it hasn't happened.
It's gonna happen one of these times.
Yeah, I mean the
He
guys
is so dangerous.
the guys are
as a
freak. They're not
talent,
gonna-
and then as in taking risks and
Yep.
and getting away with it. As far as like
Well, yeah, I'm
put his
realistic,
body on the line and just being lucky.
but I mean realistically, we should have had like at least 3 or 4 interceptions in that game.
Yeah.
Because there was a couple of them that the one we talked about earlier, that pass interference on Bynum negated a interception by Dantzler. And then there was one other one too that should have been an interception, and I forget which one that was, but
Too many shoulda, coulda, woulda this season.
yep. So yeah, I mean we can't put together a whole game. Defense played good for half. The offense played good for about 3 series. The first 2, and then that one at the end when we absolutely had to drive down and get a touchdown to tie it back up again. But beyond that, anything else you want to mention on the defensive side of things? Oh, Armand Watts also had a pretty good game. He had a sack and at least 1 tackle for loss. He was in there stuffing up the middle.
These players are good, man. Just needed.
I say we've got talent on this team. I mean,
Yeah, it's
that
just sad.
that was put on display, but and since we're talking about talent, that'll roll us into the next area, which is our special
We
team.
knew this, man. We called this before the season
Oh, yeah.
started.
Kene Wangu finally got a chance to return a kick this week. I think he actually returned 2.
Yeah,
But
the first one, man.
now the kick that opened to we got the ball first in the second half, and he took the kick and proceeded to run 98 yards for a touchdown.
Rhythm early in their first opportunity with the football.
Kene Wongwu. Good return, big alley. And the speed, and Kene Wongwu is gone! 97 yards for the rookie.
Basically hit the hole and was
And
gone.
it was gone. He hit that sidelines, and it looked like the Roadrunner going down.
Yeah, that guy he's fast. He's as advertised.
Yep. little tidbit here. That is the first kick return touchdown for the Vikings since 2016.
Wow.
Cordero Patterson had
yeah.
the last one.
I was going to say probably Patterson.
Then also, we got a little thick and creative on a punt, and Kane got the handoff on the punt and ran around the end for 9 yards and got the first down.
All for nothing.
But it was a nice play.
It was. You know what? Ficken could be separated from this coaching disaster.
Yeah, he's the only one so far that's shown any creativity this year, really.
It's pretty bad when your special teams unit's your best unit.
Yep. Jordan Berry got it right this time.
Yeah, he's a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
He's gonna be, man. We got a Pro Bowl punter.
He had a 48.4 average on 5 punts with a
career
long
year, anyways.
Joseph hit all of his kicks again,
Heck of a kicker, right?
Yeah. Well, we didn't get time to see him miss one in overtime, but
Yeah.
Beyond that, the coverage teams were good again. We almost got really lucky on that one punt where was it Duvernay and whoever the other guy was.
It looked like he hit a Baltimore player, but it didn't.
Yeah, it got awful close, but I mean they ran into each other down about the 7-yard line or whatever, and we got on the ball inside the 5. So if it had touched somebody, we'd have been there again, opportunity. I can't say opportunity missed, I guess, but just a little bit of bad luck that we did.
I believe we had our longest drive of the season this game too, didn't we?
Might have.
I believe that was this game, a 94 or 96 or 94-yard drive.
Yeah, would have been that early drive. But beyond that, that's about it, I think, for the special teams. So now we can roll over into our favorite section once again. The coaching.
Mm-hmm.
This is getting old. It is really getting old. The coaching is holding this team back.
The place is on fire right now, man.
Yeah, I mean, we know what we're doing with Zimmer again. His 2-minute drills again. We gave up points at the end of the first half when we shouldn't have. At the end of the game when we were down there, a lot of people were clamoring to go for 2 on that.
I was one of those people.
Yeah, and I was all for that too, because the way the defense was gassed, that would have
get it over with. Yeah,
we either win it or lose it there. But what they asked Zimmer about that in his post-game press conference, and he said, "Yeah, well, I thought about it, but they still had 3 timeouts in their pocket, and they got a heck of a kicker." So
after the game tying touchdown, did you give it any thought to going for 2, or was it?
Yeah, I thought about it. They got a heck of a kicker. Still had over a minute left and 3 timeouts, I believe it was.
What the hell difference does that make?
Yeah.
But
it's like saying that you don't have any confidence in your defense.
Mm-hmm.
Stop them.
Yeah, but here again, and we all assume that Baltimore is going to finish the season with a winning record. That puts Mike Zimmer at 17-44 against teams that finish the season 500 or better.
Yeah,
17-44. That's like a 0.221 or something. Somewhere in that low 2s.
It's like Drew likes to put it, king of dipshit teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then here's another tasty tidbit. Before Sunday, teams with a +2 turnover differential, a kickoff return touchdown, and a 7-point lead or better to start the fourth quarter were 110, 4, and 1.
I've heard a lot of stats like that this year.
Yeah. Vikings are coming up with all sorts of these creative ass stats that just shows the futility of the whole team. But I'm going to refrain from chewing on Zimmer too much more today, because I have nothing more to say about him that hasn't been said already. But go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
If this offense does not modernize sometime soon, Justin Jefferson is not going to want to be here.
Mm-mm.
You know, nobody's gonna want to be here.
And that rolls me into my next point here is fucking Clint Kubiak. His scripted plays the last 2-3 weeks have all looked great but he has a week to prepare for that. Once he has to go and start actually calling plays during the flow of the game, you could get a 4-year-old out there with a Madden playbook to do a better job than Clint Kubiak is doing.
Yeah.
They even made a comment, the announcers did on this stuff, that they had talked to Clint this week, and he's finally starting to get more comfortable calling plays during the game. What?
Yeah.
It's not showing.
So basically he's learning as he goes.
Yeah. But this is, what we were afraid of to start all this stuff. The guy is 33, 34 years old, whatever he is. 5 years ago, he was a wide receivers coach for Kansas. And they had a shitty offense back then. So this guy out here now who can't even figure out how to call a play during an NFL game is our offensive coordinator and is running the plays. Because he is Clint, son of Gary, is the only reason he's got this job. I brought that up last week.
Yep.
But
nepotism, dude.
Well, yeah, we brought him in for continuity. This isn't even continuity. The continuity fell right off into the toilet and got flushed. It's incompetence, complete, total, unabashed incompetence. Clint Kubiak does not know his ass from a hole in the ground. The one thing I was going to bring up earlier that I said I would hold for here, saw this on, I think it was Twitter earlier this week. I was reading through, and somebody had posted that Clint Kubiak calls an offense like he got his dad's playbook and spilled coffee on everything but the first 6 pages, and he's too scared to ask his dad for another copy, so he's just running the stuff off that first 6 pages.
I had mentioned that weeks and weeks before.
Yeah.
Weeks ago about how Gary just basically handed him his playbook and said, "Here you go, son."
But he's not. What happened to the play action? We all know Kirk is one of the better play action quarterbacks in the league, and we're running half the play actions that we ran last year. We're running, again, this, second and long, third and long. We give up, we run, or we're throwing these little dump off wide receiver tight end screens out in the flats when there is about a 0.002% chance that it's actually going to get you the first down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
it's ridiculous.
He's gone full Blutarski as far as success percentages on most of the stuff he calls.
Flat, no bubble screen out there or nothing. Let's just see what he can do.
Yeah.
Nothing out there.
And Kirk's not helping matters any, like we said earlier. He's just going along with the stuff. We talked about it last week. You get a Peyton Manning, a Brett Favre, a Tom Brady, a Russell Wilson, any number of these guys.
They wouldn't even allow this shit to happen.
No, they would. Well, Tommy Kramer had a post last week that he was talking about when he was quarterbacking. Bob Schnelker called the same play 4 times, and Tommy checked out of it all 4 times.
Yeah.
And then when it went back to the sideline, Schnelker got in his face and said, "Tommy, I wanted to run that play." And Kramer went to Schnelker. He said, "When you go put the gear on, go out there, and you let that 260-pound linebacker come barreling down at you with a 180-pound running back, the only thing in between you and him, and then we'll see how that play works out."
Exactly.
And Schnelker said, "Understood, Tommy. I will never question you again."
Exactly. Like I just said, any of those quarterbacks we just mentioned would not allow this shit to be happening.
No. All the great ones would just say, "Fuck this. We're going to,
we're doing this my way.
We're doing it my way," basically like Favre did to Childress. Childress hated Favre because Favre did this all the time.
Yep.
You basically you play caller the bird. No, that's not going to work. This is what we're doing.
It ends up working. Not saying this ends up working all the time, but it worked.
Yeah. But Kirk is so scared that if he changes something up and it goes wrong, that he's going to get yelled at or, people ripping on him and stuff.
Don't do it.
Yeah, that's what it is. Kirk is one of those guys who's been told that he is great and awesome his entire life and, can't stand any sort of criticism whatsoever. So But I mean, I could go on here, but I really don't want to because it's the same stuff we've been harping on for the last 3 weeks, and I'm sure we're going to be harping on it again for the next 3 weeks.
We will.
So
Most likely.
yeah.
Unless
So with
something
that,
dramatic happens.
yeah. So with that, we're going to move on to our weekly awards segment. Again, as we do every week, we celebrate the good and the not so good. But we start out, as always, with our Badass of the Week award.
Who is that guy? Whoever he is one tough badass.
Who do you have this week, Lance?
I believe, in my opinion, Obi Nwangwu Kenobi should get this reward this week. Like you said, it's been since 2016 since we've had a return for a touchdown on kickoff. He also came in and converted a 4th down, which was huge. And honestly, with how we've been playing, it's been slim pickings.
Yeah, I mean, he provided what should have been a spark to get this team going again in the second half.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we didn't take advantage of it.
Yep. So Kenny.
Okay.
It's
I was going to go with him too, but I've got a backup in case you picked him. My 1B. I'm going to go with rookie safety Cam Bynum.
Nice.
Who, like we mentioned, got basically thrown into the wolves at the last second when we found out Sunday morning that Hitman had come down with COVID.
Good call.
Goes out and in his very first start proceeds to have an interception, was in at the ball all day long, making a ton of plays. He had a couple mistakes, but by and large, for what he did, I thought he played a hell of a game. So I will give him my badass. Now with that, we will flip the page and move over to our Red Foreman Award of the week.
Son, you don't have bad luck. The reason that bad things happen to you is because you're a dumbass.
Who do you got there, Lance?
Well, we've been talking about them all the time, and until they, which is not going to happen until they get their shit together. And I have a hard time picking a player because really it all goes back to this coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Zim, Clint, you guys get my fucking Red Foreman Award this week.
I'm going to give Zim a 1 week respite, not because I thought he did a good job, but just because I'm sick of giving it to him every week. Mine goes solely to Clint this week because this offensive play calling and stuff it's just absolutely ludicrous. I mean, we can't go on like Kubiak should not be calling another offense.
How can you come out to start a game and look so explosive and then for the rest of the game not
because he has a week to plan those out and he can't think on the fly or he can't
adjust,
figure out adjustments and game strategy. I don't know what the deal is, but the guy he can't do it. And honestly, he needs to be fired, and he needs to be fired now, even before Zimmer does. I don't care who you bring in to start calling plays. Call his dad and have him come back for the rest of the season. I don't care. I don't want that either. But I mean, it would be better than what we got right now. I don't think Dad would come back if we fired Son, but you could pick some, like I said, a 4-year-old with a Madden playbook could do better than what Clint's doing. So. But yeah, Clint gets mine for this week. So with that, we're going to move on to our fantasy football recap from last week. As you guys all know, and if you are new to the show, we do a fantasy challenge between Lance and I, and then also between our show and our buddies over at the Vikings Report with Drew and Ted. Now, we'll start out with the head-to-head here. Lance is starting to make me look bad here. For the 3rd week in a row, he takes the taco with a 74.2 to 71.3 victory over yours truly.
All right.
But But with that, and thank you, Aaron Rodgers, for not being vaccinated and coming down with COVID, because I believe Ted picked Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback. We got off the schneid, and Vikings Uncensored back in the win column, ladies and gentlemen. We beat the Vikings Report this week, 145.5 to 113.7.
Ooh.
Holy shit, yes! Yes, we got it!
So we are now back to, what are we,
4 and
4 and 5 against those guys. Lance is up on me 6 wins to 3 wins, but we'll pick our players here later on in the show for this upcoming week, and we'll see if we can keep the streak rolling as doing the Dante. So with that, we are going to break into another one of our classic beer commercials. So you guys head to the fridge, grab a cold one, crack it open, and we will be back in a minute. This one's empty. I'm going to have to go to the fridge. So.
choices we make reveal the true nature of our character.
Okay, we are back, and once again, time to put another horrifying, god-awful loss in the rearview mirror and look forward to this week's matchup as we travel to SoFi Stadium, which is the closest we're going to get to the Super Bowl, which is in SoFi Stadium in February, to take on the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles, or whatever you want to call them now.
Yep.
This is going to be another tough game. I mean, you start looking at the weaponry that the Chargers have. I mean, Justin Herbert has.
They got a juggernaut of an offense over there for sure.
Yep. Herbert has really blossomed into a pretty good quarterback. I mean, he's, had a good rookie year and he's carrying it over this year. I was one that was never sold on him coming into the draft, but he's proven me wrong. He's done well.
Right. Oregon isn't typically known to put out good professional quarterbacks, but Herbert's breaking the mold.
Beyond that, of course, he's got a good wide receiver duo with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Austin Eckler is a very good running back, dual threat.
Very underrated in my opinion.
Yeah, he is. I mean, and he's not just a runner; he's really good catching out of the backfield. He's multi-purpose back. Their defense is solid. They got some pretty good guys over there as well. They got one of the Bosa boys. They've got some rankings for us to look at here for on the offensive comparisons. In scoring, the Chargers are 16th, the Vikes are 18th.
Pretty close there then.
Yep. In yards, the Vikings are 16th and the Chargers are 17th. So
wow.
Offensive wise, we are pretty close, surprisingly.
Yeah.
back or to each other. I kind of figured that the Chargers would have had higher numbers than that, but then we roll over to the defensive side of things. In total yardage, we are 19th, and the Chargers are 9th.
Okay, so they're a little more stout than we are as far as allowing big plays to happen.
Yep, but in points, we're 12th and they're 17th.
Okay.
Kind of interesting, but
we have a tendency to tighten up a lot when it comes to, when it gets closer to the goal line.
Yeah.
We don't give up a lot of touchdowns.
No, and here's where this could get kind of interesting here. Against the pass, we're ranked 11th. They're number 2 against the pass.
Wow.
So look for another 160, 170
I'm even surprised
yard
that
game
we're 11th against the pass. I didn't realize.
Yeah, I would have thought we were worse than that. But then against the run, we are 27th. They're 32nd.
Wow.
So if those numbers play out like they did last week, the Ravens were 32nd against the pass and we didn't throw. So now, being we're facing the Chargers this week, we have the 32nd ranked run defense.
We're going to try to force the pass.
We're going to run 7 times and throw 40. What else you seeing out of this game?
I honestly think it's going to be a defensive game, low scoring. That's my opinion. I know that there's juggernauts, on offense, but I think it's going to be back and forth all game. Another close one at the end. I think we're going to win this one. I have a feeling we're going to win. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to take us to win.
All right, and interestingly, we're talking about how many close games. 7 of our 8 games have been under 1 score and came down basically to the last play and most of the stuff. The teams that have the most games like that this year are us and the Chargers.
Yeah, so it's almost destined to be that way.
Yep, or it's going to be an absolute freaking blowout one way or the other because everybody's expecting it to be a chew on glass, bite your nails, and paste a hole in the floor thing for 4 quarters again, 4 or 5.
I'm writing this down for the W this week. What about you?
Yeah, so we'll roll into our picks and prognostication section with that. You jumped the gun a little bit.
I jumped the gun a little bit.
Yeah. False start, Brunswick, 5 yards, first down. Until they prove to me that they can pull this shit out. There's a lot of stuff stacked against us. We were on the East Coast. Now we got to go to the West Coast. They always talk about how that, we're on the road. Granted, the last time we played the Chargers, there were more Vikings fans in the stands than there were Chargers fans.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know if that'll be the case again this game. I'm guessing there's going to be quite a few just because of the snowbirds and everything out in California, and it's an easy flight out. But, and I do think it's going to be another close game. The passing offense, I don't see anything different than we've seen the last 2 games. We're going to have check down Charlie Cousins. We're going to have all these little dump offs to CJ Ham being the focal point, Tyler Conklin. We're going to largely ignore Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and KJ Osborne once again. And I think we're losing this one again. I do. It's gonna. It'll be probably less than a touchdown, 3 to 6 points somewhere in there, 2 points maybe. But until this coaching staff proves to me that they can figure out how to call 2-minute drives, how they can figure out how to call anything beyond scripted plays, how they can be able to adjust to what the opposition is doing, whether it be the offense or whether it be the defense.
3 great points, by the way. Yes.
I just don't have any confidence in it. And you're listening to these press conferences and stuff by the players and stuff afterwards. I think Zimmer and company are starting to lose the locker room. You hear
We're 8
Adam,
weeks in, man.
yeah, you hear Adam Thielen talking the last 2 weeks. He's,
8 games, excuse me.
he has talked about, that the fact that everybody's frustrated. He knows the fans are frustrated about them coming and saying all this stuff, but yet they're not doing anything different. So he's frustrated. One interesting tweet I saw after the game on Sunday, our buddy Aaron Henderson, who did a shout out for us earlier in the year. He put a couple of good posts on Twitter. He's a great follow, by the way. So if you guys aren't following him on Twitter, do so. But one of the comments he made was, he said, if this is truly what it's like to be a Vikings fan, he said, I sincerely apologize for all the heartbreak that we put you guys through when I was playing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he still follows the team. He's still, still a Vikings fan. He's, he had a couple other good tweets too that I don't want to misquote, so I'm not going to repeat, but they bear going back and looking. Like I said, give Aaron Henderson a follow. He's a great follow. But yeah, like I said, I think we're going to end up losing this game by less than a touchdown, but be that 27-24 or 30-24 kind of range, somewhere in there probably.
Yeah.
And until, like I said, until they prove it to me that they can actually pull one of these games out of their ass, I have no confidence that they can.
Yeah, I'm just going on a win.
Yeah, no, and that's fine.
Yep.
I'm more older and more cynical, so that hope in one hand and crap in the other thing doesn't work too well for me anymore. So with that, we will move on to our fantasy picks for the week. Lance was the victor again last week, so with that, he earns the right again to pick first. What do you got for? Okay, and for those of you again who may be new to this, we pick a quarterback, a running back, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end. All right, so again, caveat that you can't pick from the Thursday night game, which this week is the Ravens and the Dolphins. So you had anybody from either one of those, you're going to need to make a change.
I have none of those.
Okay, so who do you got for your quarterback this week?
I'm going to go with Prescott versus Atlanta.
Okay. I am going to take Derek Carr versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City's passing offense is putrid, so
right.
Give it a shot there. Running back, he's back and playing, and I'm going to use him before he gets hurt again. I'm taking Christian McCaffrey versus Arizona.
I thought about taking him, but I didn't. I'm going to go with Aaron Jones versus Seattle.
Okay. Then wide receiver 1, who do you got?
I'm going to go with A.J. Brown versus the Saints.
Okay. I am going to take Chris Godwin versus the football team. For my wide receiver 2, I'm taking Deontay Johnson versus the Motor City Kitties.
And I'm also going to go with Chris Godwin versus the football team.
Okay.
For my wide receiver 2.
Tight end.
I'm going to go with Kelsey versus the Raiders.
That's who I'm taking also, because I hadn't used him yet. So we will see how the two of us do against each other, and more importantly, how we do against the Vikings report.
Let's get back to 500 this week.
Yeah, let's tie this back up, because they're getting a little cocky over there again. So we got to knock them down a notch or two.
Right. Get back to 500. Come on.
Right. So with that, that's about all we've got for this week. Again, want to thank everybody for watching. You're out and about. Make sure you listen to us on the audio versions as well. We're on all of your favorite audio podcast platforms. You can also find them on the podcast tab of the Vikings Uncensored Facebook page. So, if you're liking what you're seeing and hearing, make sure that you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That helps us out a ton. We are officially at 200 now. Subscribers. And as we've mentioned before, that we will be coming up with a new contest once we hit that. So next week, we will be announcing our next contest.
unveiling.
We'll stay tuned for that. It's going to be another subscriber based, so you have to be subscribed to the channel to win the awesome prizes that we give
so
away.
Make sure you subscribe.
So the more that sign up, the more chances you have, and we'll have some fun with this. We'll release that out next week. Again, thanks to Boulder Tap House, and thank you again to all of the veterans out there for all that you do. We really appreciate it, and couldn't do what we do without you guys making the sacrifices that you do. So thank you from the bottoms of our heart again. And with that, why don't you take us out, Lance?
34. Man, I feel like I'm 100 years old.
This team has that effect on people.
Yeah. Let's hope we get a win this weekend. I know there's some people out there that are like, let's just lay down and keel over. At the end of the day, I just want to win.
Yeah.
So, chances are we do that, we're gonna end up, middle of the draft again. It's, typical Vikings bullshit. Anyways, I got a dark horse here to look at for a head coaching vacancy possibly coming within this season. I know this is a name that a lot of people are talking about. You got your Bynums out there, you got your DeBalls out there. You got your Moore and your Leftwiches. How about Mike LaFleur from New York, the offensive coordinator over there? How crazy would it be to bring in Matt's brother and have him coaching here in purple and gold?
Then they could both cram it up their cram hole.
They could both cram it up each other's cram holes. I mean, that's something that NFL could cash in on. Just because he's in New York doesn't mean he's trash.
Yeah, the whole team is trash over there. So I mean, no offense to any New York Giants fans, but or Jets fans either. I mean,
this is the Jets.
I know.
OC of the Jets. I would put his name I would pin his name up on the board as well for a dark horse.
Yeah. And I mean, once we get down to the point where we likely look at that kind of stuff, we're going to dive into those guys a lot more. But we still got a lot of football left. We don't want to do that yet. So, yeah.
With that being said, let's pray for a W this weekend, and we will see you next Friday. Same time, same place.
See you guys.
Let's go.